Okay, so last year we had a conference here in Oshawa, and I did a little demonstration. I thought this was kind of important for breaking down and further and reinforcing this thesis I have that the dollar is not a standard and it doesn't measure well. And those of you that think I'm exaggerating or straining too hard to explain this and continuing to revolve around this, when you get it, when you really see it, trust me, the lights will come on and you'll say, oh my God. So what I did for this demonstration was, what I got here is a couple of gas cans, a couple of regular, I guess they're 5 gallon or 5.3 gallon. Not that it matters, but so what I did here was, I like demonstrations. I like things that, because this whole concept of the dollar, and the dollar is, in my opinion, a concept. It's not a measurement, it's an idea. I like to use the term concept because the more you get into this, the more you're going to realize that concept idea is probably correct. So I think we might have a customer coming in here. I guess we'll find out, unless they're going next door for a haircut. But the one and only time I'll want them to be going next door for a haircut because I'm in the middle of something. But anyway, little joke there just to lighten the mood. The reason I'm doing the video here is I'm really proud of the slat wall behind me here. So I always like to do videos in our front entrance in front of the slat wall. Kind of has a nice look to it, especially on screen. Anyway, so what I did was, if you look here really close, you'll see I've got a Loonie, that one's reflecting a lot, a Loonie glued to that can, and an old 1963 80% silver dollar glued to that can. Okay, so now if you'll look, what I did was I went and bought a Loonie's worth of gas. Of course, they would accept that Loonie, but they wouldn't accept this because they don't recognize it at the gas station. So what I had to do is I had to cash that in for its silver content. Now, you wouldn't want to do that for the content of this. It's just made of copper nickel probably, and probably worth maybe a penny or less. So, I mean, its value comes from the fact that the government says that's $1. And the pumps, says that, the gas is a certain amount per liter. So when you run $1 through, you get what you get. So what I got for, now I don't have the liquid left in here. And when I did the demonstration, I took the gas out and transferred it to water because I wanted people to be able to pick these up and feel the difference. So now you're not just listening to me talk about the idea, you're actually seeing, wow, these weigh differently. And now weight is a standard. And so if you look on here, there's a black line. That's literally how full it was with a Loonie's worth of gas, right? So the Loonie bought that much gas. This one, as you can see, the black line is way up almost halfway. But these are both called $1. Now this is a 1963 dollar. So just from a very simplistic standpoint, this is how you get robbed when you save in dollars. Right here. See that? That dollar stays the same. But this dollar, because it wasn't the actual dollar that bought the gas, it was the value of the silver. You understand? There's a number of different ways I could look at this and explain it, but I'm going to use that, like right there, the black lines show you. So if you were saving in dollars in 1963, if you could project yourself back in time and buy with that dollar in 1963, it still would have bought you this much fuel. But now it only buys that. So this is kind of like a visual demonstration of how your savings, if you were to save in dollars since 1963, the actual value, the value line would be there in black, right? But now it would be down here. And this is the same for anything, a retirement account that you've had for that long, or a pension fund or anything. This is how it robs you of purchasing power. And it gets back to this concept of the dollar. It's like, how can these both be called $1? Right? Now, if you'd have taken a paper dollar from back in that day, right, as opposed to the physical dollar, the paper dollar wouldn't be the same. We did have paper dollars back then. I wish I still had one of the old Canadian dollars. Because that paper dollar nowadays, I could have took to the gas station, they still would have honored it, probably would have had to turn it back into the bank. That's a good question. Would they actually honor a paper dollar now at a gas station? I wonder. Probably not. You'd probably have to take it to a bank and get $1. But let's just say they would accept a paper dollar. Would it be that dollars were still in circulation? Like if you're down in the US, they still have paper dollars down there. They don't have the Loonie and the Toonie like we do. You'd be able to walk in any gas station with a 1963 or older paper dollar, and you would have only been able to buy that much gas. But what actually bought the fuel here was the silver value, which we exchanged for its actual dollar value. I mean, you see how crazy this is? I'm calling this a dollar and that a dollar and a paper dollar and a digital dollar are a dollar. As you can see, they're not a standard for measurement. Otherwise, these two lines would be the same, right? It's a concept. And so I just proved there that not only is it a concept, well, I guess I didn't prove that. It's arguable, but you can certainly see the erosion of your purchasing power, your value over time by the two black lines on the fuel, even though they're both bought with a dollar. So this just I keep trying to struggling to find new ways to demonstrate this. What I did was I had everybody at the conference come up and pick the cans up and be able to visually see. That's why I glued the dollars on there. I wanted them to see the difference so they could get a different sensory explanation just from their own senses. You know, once you engage a new set of senses, it's one thing to hear me say it. It's one thing to see me put it on paper or put some things on the screen, but it's another thing to actually pick up two gas cans that were, you know, the gas was bought with dollars, different dollars from different eras, and actually feel the difference. And the look on people's face was pretty striking. I had a few people make some pretty interesting faces over that, being that they were both bought with a dollar. So I think this is an important lesson and an exercise to go through to really reinforce this idea of the dollar being not a proper measurement. And why is this important? Because we tend to view our value of our home and our retirement account and everything in dollars. We just look, well, how many dollars do we have? But over time, is that measurement going to be accurate as to how much value you have? Because value is a different thing. Value means equal to. But equal to what? That's the question. Equal to what? So the dollar being equal, well, the dollar today was equal to that. This dollar was equal to that, different, but both a dollar, right? It's almost like a mind game when you stop and think about it. It's kind of maddening, really, to try to explain and try to get this, because it took me so long to get my head around the idea. I could see visually, I could see there was something wrong with this concept, something wrong with this idea, and I could see how it was, you know, robbing us over time. And I could see it in my own life as gradually things got more expensive, and hey, I can't afford to do that anymore. You know, even though I'm making a little more income, my income didn't seem to be keeping up with my lifestyle. So you start to question these things a little more deeply, and you're immediately confronted with the fact that this is not a very easy thing to understand and explain. It's a real, I always just call it a mind trick or a mind virus, but it's perplexing. So anyway, hope that helps. You know, one more time, you know, the two black lines just to reinforce the loonie and the old dollar, the silver dollar, and try to get an idea of why this concept is such a conundrum. Anyway, thanks for listening, folks. Like I said before, like videos, but you know what? Liking and subscribing and all that, that's fine and great, but share the videos with people. Pass this around to people so they can get a little bit of education on this dollar thing. I think it'll fare them in good stead going forward. Thanks for listening, folks. Have a great day.